back at it again, and we've got more evidence. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you are new. If you would like to help me out even further with this YouTube algorithm too, watch this video to the very end. It helps out tremendously. I would greatly appreciate it. And thank you to every single last one of you that have continued to show so much love and support. I greatly appreciate every single last one of you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I can't thank you guys enough. You guys are absolutely amazing, because honestly and truthfully, this doesn't happen without all of you, of course. And shout out to everyone that has sent a super thanks. Shout out to everyone that has purchased my merch. Thank you guys so much. I mean, like I said, this doesn't happen without all of you. I mean, that's as simple as I can put it. This train isn't in motion without you guys. So thank you once again. I know you're probably tired of me saying thank you, but you know, hey, I appreciate it. How about that? Now let's dive in.
Julie, law professor and Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley has a warning about the president's emails. He's out with a new op-ed titled "Biden's Use of Fake Names in Email Could Cost Him." Matt Whitaker, the former acting attorney general, is here with us this morning. Matt, thanks so much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
So what can compel these emails to be released? Do you think they will be released?
Yeah, they're going to get some of this. I mean, right now they're being reviewed by President Biden's team, and they're going to redact things that they claim executive privilege on, or maybe even the to from. The interesting thing about these emails is two of them are Gmail accounts, which I think Congress could directly subpoena Google and get those emails. And it is concerning that the vice president's office was doing business on Gmail. That is usually a no-no for official business. You're supposed to use, the official email channels. But this case continues to develop, and I think ultimately, especially if it's an impeachment inquiry, there's going to be significant documents, including these emails, turned over.
When you look at what's subject here, what could become public, and you'd mentioned, and we saw there from David's report, that a lot of this had to do with Gmail addresses. Yeah. If the vice president, then vice president, is speaking about just to his son and having personal conversations, does that fall under a public record? But if it's with the National Archives, then it must be a public record.
So it's kind of sounding vaguely familiar, a little bit like the Hillary Clinton private email server, because remember, there is a distinction between just truly personal business, which again you can conduct, and nobody should be able to see that ultimately, and then official business. And my understanding of some of these documents, they were the vice president's office telling Hunter Biden about the president's schedule, potentially about Ukraine policy, and things that would have been of interest to his business arrangements. And I think that's where the rubber meets the road, and where the House Oversight Committee is really trying to dig in and get that information, because right now we've heard just little snippets of it, but ultimately, if that's the case, then this could be an explosion heard all over D.C. and beyond.
Yeah, here's what we've got from Republicans. This is Congresswoman Claudia Tenney speaking about this.
You have all this money going to the Biden family, not because they're all experts. Certainly, Hunter Biden's not an expert on energy. Joe Biden is an arrogant guy who can't control his mouth. And that's what I think that everything about that reveals exactly who Joe Biden is.
Facts. I'm sure you guys have all seen the clip of Joe Biden talking about getting the prosecutor fired. He was literally on stage bragging about it happening. Just said it out flat out. And he was like, I forgot his exact wording, but he told the whole story. I mean, it doesn't get any more clear than that. I mean, hey, man. And listen, as I've said before, I hope that there is some strategy being involved in this whole process, because, and for the folks that have heard this before, I apologize, but, the family is growing like crazy right now. Shout out to all of you that are new to the family, and shout out to all of the folks that have encouraged your friends, your family, your co-workers, and everybody else to come aboard and join the family. So I'm gonna say this again for the new family, okay? I hope there's strategy involved with this whole process, because if you go too early, then they can just swap Biden out, which is what I feel Democrats truly want at the end of the day. They want him swapped out for somebody else, whether that's Kamala or who I really assume Michelle or Gavin Newsom, right? I think if they put Gavin Newsom in the presidency, then they're gonna have to have Michelle Obama or somebody black, right? Because that's the monster that they've created. They have to have a person of color, right, in the office as well, or they're going to anger their base, because that's the monster that they've created. They talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion all the time. And if you have a presidency without a person of color, that's going to look a little strange. As a matter of fact, you probably would have to have that person of color as president. So it might be Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom as vice, right? Or Kamala as president and Gavin Newsom as vice, or Michelle and Kamala, or something along that combination, right? It's got to be a person of color. But if you strategize and you wait until 2024 to really bring the, proverbial hammer down, not a literal hammer. I'm not advocating for violence. I want to make that clear. Down on the Biden administration, then they can't substitute him out. It's too late. I mean, they could try. They'll lose doing so. So there has to be a lot of strategy involved. I think they need to employ the same type of thing that Democrats have employed, I personally feel, in my humble opinion, against Donald Trump, right? They waited all this time to bring these alleged, lockdown charges against Uncle Trump until now. I find that a little strange, maybe, but I find that a little strange. So make sure you use strategy. Wait until 2024. Then you bring out all the dirt. You pile it onto Biden's name when it's too late. And now he has to go into a presidential election with all of that dirt, with all of, his corruption being exposed to the American public. And now the American public, as I feel should happen, gets to make their own decision. We get to make our own decision, not the courts or the legal system or anything like that. We, the people, the American people, get to make the decision on who we prefer, Uncle Trump or corrupt Joe Biden. That's the way that I feel it should go down, in my humble opinion. But how do y'all feel? Let me know in the comment section, please.
So
I think that everything about that reveals exactly who Joe Biden is.
So we are at a point now where House Republicans have been in this investigation for several months, several years now, a few years now, but there is no direct link. But still having this relationship where you've got what Republicans say is money going to family members, it doesn't look good.
Well, not only does it not look good, but there is circumstantial evidence. For example, Hunter Biden was texting with his sister saying, essentially, I have to give 50% of my income to dad, to the vice president. And that is a meaningful piece of information, a piece of evidence in this overall scheme, it appears, where Hunter Biden is getting $1 million a year, the equivalent of it, from Burisma. He's getting several $1 million from the wife of the former mayor of Moscow. And then there's a dinner that followed that between Vice President Biden and this individual. And so there's a lot of smoke and there's a lot of things, a lot of circumstantial evidence. And, as a former prosecutor myself, I can tell you these are where you want to dig in. And ultimately, I'm not sure we'll ever have the smoking gun, the direct evidence where Joe Biden admits that this was the scheme. But to me, the points of the connections are being made right now as we speak.
Do you think that Republicans, and given in the conference there are a number of Republicans who are calling for an impeachment inquiry, is that premature at this point since we do not have that evidence?
Yeah, the last I heard from Speaker McCarthy is that he is going to take a vote on the impeachment inquiry and see if he can get the 218. And if you think about kind of that caucus and how, you have folks that are very much would vote right now to make that happen and others that are maybe a little more hesitant, that may be a good deliberate move. I'm not sure there are 218 members of the House that would vote for that. And if that's the case, then it's not going to proceed. But, Kevin McCarthy is a very careful tactician, and I think he'll, try to see where the mood of the caucus is. It's like herding cats at that level.
Yeah. Sometimes I bet you he wishes it was like herding cats. Might be a little easier. Matt Whitaker, thanks so much for joining us.
Rich.
Any Republican that doesn't vote for that should be voted out of office. That's just my humble opinion. Any Republican that is going against the Republican agenda that the people want should be voted out of office, in my humble opinion, right? Folks that, which there was a lot of them, folks that went against the Freedom Caucus, when Kevin McCarthy was trying to become Speaker of the House, that got in people's faces and everything like that. those folks should be voted out as well. Because the because the people said, we all said, that we wanted somebody else. And the Freedom Caucus was actually trying to do that. The Freedom Caucus was actually trying to get somebody else in place of McCarthy. We said we didn't want him. I asked you guys, and overwhelmingly in the comment section, you said you didn't want McCarthy either. I took a poll on Twitter, right? The overwhelming majority of folks did not want McCarthy, did not want him. We the people, we're saying we don't want this guy. And for you as a Republican to get mad at Republicans who are actually doing what the constituents actually want, how does that make any type of sense? You're getting mad at Republicans for actually doing what they should be doing, which is representing the people. How do you guys feel about, what I was just talking about there, about Republicans, that got angry at the Freedom Caucus for doing what we the people actually wanted? How do you guys feel also about Republicans that will vote no against diving into this whole situation with Biden's alleged corruption? How do you guys feel about Republicans that do that? Will you still vote for them? Why? If you are, which is fine. I just want to know why. I'm genuinely curious. This isn't like oh, you're an idiot type of thing or a gotcha, no, I'm genuinely curious. Maybe that's your only option. I don't know. But how are you guys feeling about that? Let me know in the comment section, because we do have folks like Mitch McConnell that keep getting elected. And obviously, like as I've said before, I've made it clear, I'm still new to politics, so I don't know all of the ins and outs and, the nooks and crannies of politics. I started this journey just last year, just trying to discover the truth. And, here we are, right? Here we are, just a little over, we might be like a year and a half in so far, diving into politics and really trying to discover the truth of it all. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I have all the answers, but why do people like Mitch McConnell, who, in my opinion, clearly is a rhino, right? Set aside his, health troubles and whatever else, I wish him the best health-wise. I don't want to see him hurt or harmed or, pine boxed in any type of way, right? I want to see him happy and healthy. But, set that stuff aside. In my opinion, he's clearly a rhino. So how does he keep getting elected? Let me know in the comment section. Are there no other options? Is he just spending so much money? Y'all talk to me, please. Let me know. I'm genuinely curious. And this is nothing. And once again, I want to make this clear. This is nothing against his constituents. I'm just genuinely curious. I just really want to know the answer to the question. Because I'm just having a hard time wrapping my mind around how some of these rhinos are, still in office and keep getting elected. And, we have, in my opinion, most Republican officials or, in Congress, especially, well, maybe the Senate, especially, I feel are rhinos, clear rhinos. The only true Republicans I feel are in the Freedom Caucus, in my humble opinion, right? You have a few in the Senate, okay? But for the most part, it's the Freedom Caucus, and that's basically it. So, yeah, let me know in the comment section, please. I'm really curious to hear all of your answers. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.